Hi, my darlings. Thanks for joining me again for Gigi's story time. I wanted to share a couple of my favorite children's poems from A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson. This one's called My Shadow. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He's very, very like me, from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. One morning, very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. And I thought this was a very cute picture of the little one with his shadow. And there is on a summer morning. This one's called The Wind. I saw you toss the kites on high and blow the birds about the sky, and all around I heard you pass, like ladies' skirts across the grass. O wind, a-blowin' all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call, I could not see yourself at all. O wind a-blowin' all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. O you that are so strong and cold, O blower, are you young or old? Are you a beast of field and tree, or just a stronger child than me? O wind a-blowin' all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. Have you ever seen the wind? Oh, and then there's this one, which I always think of when we go to the playground. The swing. How do you like to go up in a swing? Up in the air so blue? Oh, I do think it the pleasantest thing ever a child could do. Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide, rivers and trees and cattle and all over the countryside. Till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown, up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. Oh, I look forward to when we can go to the playground together again, don't you? And now I want to share with you a little book I wrote for a little girl, probably younger than you are, who came to visit my garden. And it's called Gigi's Garden Tour. Here's a picture of Gigi in her garden. When Piper woke up at Nana's house, she couldn't find her smile. Piper looked out at the bay through the rain-splashed window. She couldn't see Smith Point Lighthouse. She saw dark clouds in the sky and the waves crashing into the seawall. Piper wondered what she and Nana would do on such a gloomy day. She was sad that Mommy and Daddy had to travel for work this week. She missed them already. Not long after breakfast, Piper was surprised to see a sunbeam streaming through the glass doors. "Let's go for a ride," Nana suggested. Piper quickly slipped on her sparkly purple plastic shoes and followed Nana out to the car. A few minutes later, they turned into a parking lot filled with boats. "That looks funny," exclaimed Piper. "Why aren't those boats in the water?" Because they were all wrapped up for winter and the water is still not quite warm enough for boating. When can we go on the boat? Piper asked. Very soon, our new boat will arrive, and you will be our first passenger, promised Nana. But for now, let's go to the marina store and meet my friend. When Nana's friend came out to greet them, Piper asked, Do you have any children? Yes, I have 2 sons, she replied. Can I play with them? No, they're all grown up now, and they don't live here. I also have a baby granddaughter. Her name is Lexi. I can't wait for her to come and visit me like you are visiting your Nana. What does she call you? Piper inquired. She calls me Gigi. Would you like to call me that name too? Piper nodded. The telephone rang. Gigi invited Piper and Nana to look around the store. It only took a moment for Piper to spy the shelf with the stuffed animals. She saw frogs and fish, crabs, and a cuddly bunny. In a blue basket, she found a white swan, a toucan, and a pink flamingo. It was love at first sight. Piper picked up the funny pink bird. May I have her? Piper asked Nana. But before Nana could answer, Gigi said, That flamingo has been waiting for a special girl to adopt her. This is a blessed day for her. I have a bird's nest, whispered Gigi. Do you want to see it? Piper asked, Are there any birds in it? Not right now, Gigi answered. As they walked across the parking lot, Nana and Gigi talked. Nana explained that she had tickets for the Virginia Garden Tour tomorrow, but had not realized that Piper would be visiting the same day. Papa had plans too. Piper wondered if they would leave her all alone in the house on the bay. Just then Gigi said, Don't worry, I have an idea. As they continued walking, Piper spied a puddle, and because she had on her water shoes, what do you think she did? Yes, Piper lifted her dress and splashed right into it. The water was cool between her toes. She held the flamingo high so his legs would stay dry. Gigi thought she saw the slightest beginning of a smile on Piper's face. They walked past the flapping American flag, and Gigi pointed out the red and white tulips bobbing in the breeze. She told Piper about the prickly pear cactus, whose stickers would jump right off to prick you if you got too close. Soon it will have yellow flowers, and then red fruit will pop out, Gigi explained. Piper asked, Are those the pears? Yes, Gigi answered, but they're special, and you can't eat them like a regular pear. There's the cactus. Gigi opened the white gate into her yard. Everything was very green. Gigi pointed to the freshly turned plot, where the tomato plants would go in next week. They approached a small tree covered in pink pom-pom blossoms. In the V of the branches nestled a tiny bird's nest. Piper asked, Where have the birds gone? Gigi explained that she had found the nest on the ground. Perhaps the little eggs hatched last year and the birds have flown away, said Gigi. The wind must have blown the nest out of a taller tree. Do you think another mommy bird might find this little nest and use it to lay her eggs? Piper said, Maybe. What kind of bird might have such a small nest? Piper thought for a minute and then said, A hummingbird? That's a good guess, exclaimed Gigi. I saw one flying around just yesterday. If you look very carefully, you can see the bird's nest in the pink blossoming tree. Gigi bent down and said, Piper, your Nana tells me she's going on a garden tour tomorrow. I was wondering if you'd like to take a tour of my garden today. Piper looked up at Nana, who nodded her head yes. Yes, please, said Piper. So Gigi took her by the hand and led her toward the little burgundy Japanese maple tree she had planted a few days before. It's just about your height, she told Piper. It will grow, but someday you may still be taller than it. As they walked, Gigi told Piper that the green clumps with spiky leaves will be beautiful lilies in a few weeks. Then she asked, "Can you smell the lavender?" Piper leaned into the silvery gray plant and breathed in. With a surprised look, she said, "It smells like Mommy's soap." Along the sidewalk, they saw tiny white flowers, yellow ones, purple vinca with striped green leaves, and the happy faces on pansies in pots. Resting on top of the bird bath pedestal, a sparkly purple bowling ball caught Piper's eye. "What's that?" she asked. "We call it a gazing ball. It's just for fun," responded Gigi. They strolled through the front yard, past a little angel whispering to a frog. "I wonder what he's saying to the frog," said Gigi. "I think he's telling the frog not to croak too loud. It might wake up the snail," suggested Piper. "That plant will grow much bigger and have purple flowers that will attract lots of butterflies this summer," said Gigi. "Butterflies were caterpillars when they were babies," said Piper. "That's right," said Nana, smiling. "You know where that little angel statue is, don't you?" Around the corner, azaleas in several shades of pink were in full bloom. "Piper, in your pretty striped dress, you look like a bloomin' flower," Gigi said, "and so does your flamingo. What will you call her?" Without hesitation, Piper said, "Her name is Flower." Piper and Flower ran through the lush green grass, but stopped abruptly when she noticed lots of pine cones on the ground. Nana looked up and said, "Look, Piper, they were attached to those branches on the tall pine trees. I hope one doesn't fall on us." They watched a cute brown squirrel scamper up the trunk. "Do you have a basket so we could collect the pine cones?" Piper asked. Gigi suggested that Piper return tomorrow, and they could do that. Nana gave Gigi a questioning look, but Gigi just winked. Piper picked up a stick, and they talked about the osprey who likes to swoop down into the yard gathering sticks for her nest out on the channel marker. They saw her sitting on it now. Piper asked, "Can we walk out to the neighbor's dock and see the osprey?" "That's another thing we could do tomorrow," replied Gigi. "We'll find a life jacket just your size, and then we can walk on the docks around the marina to look at boats and see what we can see." "Look at that," yelled Piper, pointing out the spindly-legged gray heron standing in the marshy peninsula. Soon he took flight with a screech that sounded like a pterodactyl. It didn't seem to bother the two Canada geese who were swimming nearby. "I think they're trying to find a good hiding place for their nests," surmised Gigi. A crazy cawing caused all three of them to look up. There sat a large black crow. On a lower branch, they noticed two little cardinals learning how to fly. "That looks like fun," said Piper. The sea breeze was ruffling the water, and the bushes swayed back and forth. "Those are called knockout rose bushes," said Gigi. "Why?" "Because when they're in bloom, people are knocked out by their beauty." Piper picked up a large piece of mulch and lofted it up, but it fell down the slope of the seawall. Gigi took Piper's hand and led her to the edge of the wall. They looked way down at the beach. This time when Piper threw the mulch, it landed in the water. "Hooray!" said Nana and Gigi. Gigi pointed to a hole next to the seawall. "We have a basement renter," said Gigi. "He has an apartment under our front lawn." "Oh, he's very cute, but very destructive. Do you know who he is, Piper?" Piper shook her head no. "He's a groundhog, and he likes to dig underground tunnels. It's fun to see him waddling across the lawn, but he makes me mad, too." "We have a special room for visiting children," said Gigi. "Would you like to see it?" "Do you have toys?" asked Piper. "Oh, yes, lots of toys and books I think you'll like." "Have you ever heard the story of Noah, who built a very large boat a long way from the sea?" "No," replied Piper. "Why would he do that?" "Because God told him to, and he knew it was important to pay attention to God," explained Gigi. "Not only did he build an ark, but he loaded it full of animals. And then one day, it began to rain. It rained so much that the ark began to float. Whatever was not in the ark was covered by the floodwaters. Piper looked concerned. But, Gigi continued, that's not the end of the story. As they climbed the stairs, Gigi explained that this room was also called Noah's Ark because it's a special place of protection, and it's full of animals too. Real animals? Piper inquired. No, just stuffed ones, but we like to pretend that they're real. How many of these animals can you name? After 40 days, Noah let a dove fly out the window. After a while, the dove returned to the ark with a small branch from an olive tree in its beak. By this time, Noah knew that the flood was over and that he would soon see dry land. I imagine he and his family were ready to get those animals off the ark. It must have gotten pretty smelly. When Noah stepped out on the deck, he was amazed to see something he had never seen before. Do you know what it was, Piper? A rainbow? Yes, God had painted the sky with beautiful colors as a sign that he would bring good out of all that rain. I'm glad that God stopped the rain this morning so I could see all the beautiful colors of your garden, said Piper, smiling. So am I. So am I, Gigi said as she leaned down to give Piper a hug. The end.